kwa ba ni mo ni hye ene eyejuada ayesi na woche foforo mu eti ede na happy new week eda mema obi biara ya hwefo nyina na ya ka che so ya ade se da ne da na wodi afidie no eto lucky television na afi woni yen edijuma no ana pay akoyejuada edi adwadi kan e ma hint kakra ya opanyin pa bi e wo fia no se ya ne no eba betwetwe enkomo ye be hye na brabo mu kakra na afi abo ewro manga na Pueblo Beka state of the economy saying as he say no Omagana Mambu no Amangana Satina etie ya na panyifo mo te soro mo so ne ya na Ghana for yesu eye dede no ya na omotibia na so mo de sanframa na eboye no ebi emo mo ti ana pay ye ba be din komo na ye din komo de ne ye bohwi akoye wa central Rashid Bejani enene ye no no e ba betwetwen komo honorable Rashid Abdul Hassan Pelpuo and Dr. Honorable Dr. Rashid Hassan Pelpuo Masibejani Emma Wa Central and then the any better Chunkumona, ye back down Cassan Kakra and the Cassano, ye cobrofo, Nassim Gitua. Honorable, welcome.
Thank you, Ama.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
How is Wa Central?
Wa Central is excellent, it's good, except a few instances when we are disturbed by these serial killing. We are okay.
Yes, talking about serial killing, let's go back to quite recently there was this ransom be placed on some culprits. Have you been able to book them, like bring them to book?
We are trying. The security is up in arms. The people are up in arms, well determined to search for them and to catch them. We want them to be brought before the law, and we've not got any concrete evidence yet. But lots of efforts are being made, and a single individual is being chased right now to see how we can reach out to him to explain some actions he has taken and some circumstances around.
Okay, so it's an individual, not a group.
Oh, no, I can't tell now. I'm just saying that there's a search. One or two people are being looked for, eventually, I believe, information was going to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
100,000 Ghana cedis. It's a huge amount.
Oh, you mean the bounty I have placed? Yeah. Yes, we place a bounty on anybody who is able to single out a suspect who will be found to be one. Then we will advance that amount of money to him. I understand. I hear some people saying, "Oh, let's get the money right now and start spending it." It is not how things are done. And I'm sending a message to them. That's not how things are done. Don't say, "Give me the money now," so that I can search for the person. That's not how they work. The constituency is big. Anybody can contribute. It's not the job of the one person. It's not just the security alone. It's not the member of parliament alone. If you think part of your ability is to go out and search, go out and search. You know, that's your contribution too. Don't say MP's contribution to give a bounty. Go and bring that one so that we. No. We don't do that.
All right. Okay. So now let's get back to you. Let's know about you. Who is Honorable Rashid Hassan Pelpuo?
Well,
about you?
As you said, my name is Rashid Pelpuo. I come from the Pelpuo family. I'm a royal from the Pelpuo family. In my very early life, at age 5, I attended Wa Experimental Primary School, which is now Wa Model, from class 1 to class 6. And then I attended the Middle Day School, Wa Middle Day School. These schools are the first schools in Wa. So I'm privileged to be
first class.
One of the people who attended the two schools. And then from the middle school, those days when you finish school, middle form 4. Let me explain middle form 4 because many people don't understand. Yeah. It's no longer, it wasn't the same as it is now, where you get up to JSS 3 and then you go to secondary school. Those days you finish at which should now be called JSS 4, but which was called middle school. So you go to middle school and finish at form 4. From form 4 you are given a certificate which you can use to work. So after form 4 I got a certificate, and my dad was a retired civil servant I told him I wanted to work, and he obliged and took me to his friend, ECK Dapla, who is popularly known as Kyerena. Kyerena employed me as a messenger after Form 4. So I worked as a messenger for 1.5 years and decided that I wasn't going to be a messenger any longer. Yeah.
Working as a messenger in which company? What was the name of the company?
Environmental Protection.
Okay, so EPA.
Yeah, Environmental Protection Agency. I mean, it's not EPA. Environmental Protection.
Let's move on.
Yeah, environmental protection something. Yeah, where the environment is the focus. We have environmental officers inspecting houses to make sure you don't leave dirty things. You clean up your environment. You make sure your toilets and bathrooms are all clean. You know, so those environmental officers were. So the office, Environment Protection Agency, was responsible for that.
Okay.
And so I worked there as a messenger to the chief executive or the district officer, who was Mr. Kyerena ECK Dapla. So I worked for some time, about 1 year, and I became recalcitrant. I decided I didn't want to work anymore as a messenger. Whatever he did to me, I insisted I wouldn't work in that place anymore. So he said, look, if you're not working as a messenger, I'll take you to be a houseboy. So he took me to a houseboy.
From messenger to a houseboy.
He took me to Dr. Hougan.
Okay.
I don't know where Dr. Hougan is. Dr. Hougan, if you are listening, I don't know. I'm sure you would have been a very old man now. But I wish you the best and wish that I could see you again. So I worked in Dr. Hougan's office, house to be a cleaner, a houseboy, because I was refusing to be a messenger. So he took me there. I worked there for about 3 months, 4 months. Then I said, no, I just don't want to work right now. I thought I was so young to be working.
How old were you then?
When the world was ahead of everybody else.
How old were you?
At that time, I was 16, 17 years. But I was paid well. At the time, I was paid 54 cedis. I could buy my own trousers. I could buy my own shoe, and all that. But I said to myself, no, I shouldn't be doing this. My friends will come from secondary school. When they come and they are talking about they've read Things Fall Apart, no longer at ease, Treasure Island and all that, I'll tell them I've read all. And they'll be surprised. Because there was a library in Wa, and after classes, after my work, I spent all my time there, reading. So I got to a point when the world was open to me, and I told myself, look, Rashid, you can't be here as a worker. You need to do something more than this. So I left. He did everything. I still said no. Even Dr. Hougan's wife said, look, you seem to be reading so much. Would you like to go to secondary school? I said, yes. They said, okay, wait, next year. But I couldn't wait for the next year. So I went to write late entrance. Those days, after common entrance, when the school didn't have enough space enough, students enough, they will organize late entrance. So I wrote the late entrance, and then I passed straight away to enter Wa Secondary School. And that's how I entered Wa Secondary School. Yeah.
Which year?
This was in 1978. Yeah. So I was in Wa Secondary School in 1978 up to 1983. Okay. And then I wrote the exams. Part of the papers were cancelled. In 1983, they cancelled accounting, they cancelled science. Okay. So but science was critical for you to enter sixth form and for you to enter the university. And besides that, I was so confident in myself. Rather than everybody taking 8 subjects, those who were so confident, they would take 7 subjects or even 6 subjects. So I took 7. So when they cancelled 2, I was left with 5. 5 could not help you to enter sixth form. You should at least have 6 subjects. So I had to stay back and became a people teacher. As when I applied and they saw the rest of my results, immediately they employed me to be a people teacher. So I taught in some villages. I taught in Perisi, a town, a community close to Wa. And then I taught in my native town, Busa, also close to Wa, and prepared myself as I was there. I can tell you, within the 1 year I stayed in Busa to work as a teacher. For the first time, I produced students who wrote common entrance and passed straight. And I was judged the best teacher in the circles.
Wow.
Yes. You know, it never happened until I got there. When I was judged the best teacher, my student passed common entrance, and it was a marvel.
Wow. So let's look at being a people's teacher, and then later on getting into the university. How do you get into the university, and then how was life like as a people's teacher?
Yeah. So whilst as a people teacher, I rewrote the exam, the O levels, and then I passed straight, and then qualified for sixth form.
Okay.
Those days I got a very good aggregate. Aggregate 12 was distinction. But when I wrote, I got 17. Staying at home to write, I got 17.
Wow.
And I was one of the first people they admitted straight into sixth form. And in sixth form, I read government, I read accounting, and I read Islamic studies. And I was also I was elected the president of the Muslim Students Union. I was also elected as the assistant senior prefect. And then I was elected the president of the Current Affairs Club at the sixth form. So 3 situations where I led as a leader. But so I went ahead, finished sixth form, wrote the exams, and I qualified straight into the university. Yeah. But I couldn't enter the university straight. With those days, you needed to do national service. So
after the sixth form.
Yeah, after sixth form, you needed to do national service.
Okay.
So let me explain to those who are in today's educational system. That when you entered secondary school, you stayed 5 years in secondary school. You write an O-level, you write O-level exam, and then you qualify to enter sixth form, which was also 2 years before you then write an exams to enter the university. So you stay 7 years in secondary school. So in my 7 years in secondary school, I was then expected to do national service. It was the law at the time.
Okay.
So I did my national service. At the end of the national service period, with the National Youth Council, I was adjudged the best national service personnel in the district. You know.
Is it Wa?
Wa. Okay. At the time, Wa was a district, not a municipality. So I was the best national service personnel in the district. So my organization, the National Youth Council, the regional boss, regional director, Mr. Gaspard Mignole, Gaspi, you know, may God continue to keep him in peace. He's dead now.
Okay.
He approached me and said, look, you have shown distinction in work and organizing our youth. We want you to be our district youth organizer if you didn't mind. Then I agreed. And then he encouraged me to apply. I applied. They took me through the interview. It was a distinction. And then Accra immediately issued a letter to me to be a district youth coordinator. Okay. After being a district youth coordinator for 2 years, I was called from Accra one day that the reports I've been writing are encouraging, and that I get very good impressions. I give them very good impression about my leadership of the Ward district. So the road to the regional minister at the time, those days we used to call them regional secretary. They wrote to the regional minister to give him a letter to say that they are going to appoint me as a regional boss, whilst they transfer my boss to Upper East region. I was in Upper West region. That was great news for me, and my boss agreed to be transferred, so I was immediately appointed acting regional youth coordinator before the age of 27. by that age, I was a regional boss.
Wow.
Yeah, so after working for 1 year, I applied to enter the university. So I was given the opportunity to enter the university. You were
already a boss before entering the university?
Yes, I was a district boss when I entered the university, so I entered on steady leave. So I worked with my colleagues were like I didn't see them to be my age mates. I thought that I was older than them. But later on, I realized that many of them were my age. You know, it's very normal. Even when I entered class 1, at the age of 5 years, many people I saw, I thought that I was older than them. I always thought I was ahead of people. When later on I got to realize that we are the same. So I used to help a lot of the guys who were in school, give them money, keep money for them, allow them to use the things I brought and all that. So in secondary school and the university. I was the first time I attended Northern Students Union meeting. It was also the day they wanted to change leadership. In first year, yes, I was nominated to contest the presidency. I raised my hand and I said, no, I'm a first year student. They said, no, it doesn't matter. We are looking for a competent person. Somebody who I didn't know said, oh, we know you, we've heard about you. So it doesn't matter whether you are a first year or not, we still can elect you. Then they nominated 2 more people. My attempt to step down didn't help me. So the vote came on, and overwhelmingly everybody voted for me. So I became the president of the Northern Students Union.
First year student.
Wow. Then I attended Writers Club because I was writing. I used to write a lot, commentaries and poetry and all that. Then immediately I was elected the secretary of the Writers Club. Then in my second year, I joined the Marxist Club, the Current Affairs Marxist Club. Professor Atabrichun was the organizer, great guy. And then, you know, I deputized now Dr. Bello, who was the president. Then I became his deputy, and eventually when he left, I became the president. And then the NDC was then formed. The the National Democratic Congress was launched as a party in 1992. So they wanted a president. In fact, the idea was to set up the student response to the National Youth Council, the National Democratic Congress. And so there's a guy, somebody related to me, lawyer Wahid, and then Nana, and another what's his name? Nana. Hey, my friend's name. He was a member of parliament.
Oh, okay.
They came to me and asked me to help to set up the student wing of the new party. I wanted to resist because I had contested SRC elections at the time and lost, and wanted to do a repeat.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I lost was that they branded me as NDC, as Rawley's boy. So this guy is Rawley's boy. If we vote for him, we'll be voting for Rawley's. And so they voted me, they didn't vote for me. So I tried to clean up myself and then contest the next election. So when they came, I resisted to be the center of the organization.
NDC,
but insistently it worked. And Wahid, who is a very, very intelligent guy and speaks very well, with Nana Abura. Nana Abura was also a great guy. He spoke very well. He was I would say, he was a very well-spoken person, and he spoke very well. So they convinced me to join, to set up the student wing of it. So we set it up as a student wing of the NDC.
University of Cape Coast.
University of Cape Coast. And the idea was that they had tried it in University of University of Science and Tech, and it didn't work. So they wanted to come to the University of Cape Coast to try their luck. That same day, they met me at about 10 p.m. and then I agreed to organize behind the scenes. By the following morning, I had put up posters all over the campus, and I had invited people to come to meet at our staff common room. Yeah. And by the evening, the place was filled to capacity. People came, and I was there. Nana spoke very well and moved the people. You know, parties were not as they are now. It was the beginning of the immigration. I saw the
democracy.
Yeah, beginning of the migration from the PNDC
into democratic.
Into the democracy. So they came around, we spoke to them, and I stayed behind, and I told them I don't want my name to be mentioned because I want to stay from behind. But Nana was so impressed with my organization that he said, look, we think that Rashid Pelpuo should be your organizer now. And then there was a big applause. Everybody was clapping, hey, we like it. And then, so then I decided that, look, this one, I will move it up to a point. So I moved it up to a point. Within a month or two, I had done enough organization on campus. So I decided that we would do a proper work, a proper election, and get a proper elected executive, not the interim ones we were doing. So I organized a big meeting, and lots of people came. Many of them have become MPP now, because they went home and they were told that you can't bring MPP here. NDC. I know you can bring NDC home. I know a number of friends who were joining me from Ashanti and Koforidua, and they came back to tell me, President, we can't join you anymore, because we went home and our people said we can't be NDC. Yeah.
So what's happening to your SLC slot? Yeah,
so let me just end it here. When I organized the meeting so that we can elect an executive, I told them I wanted to take myself out and that they should nominate somebody as the president. After listening to me, 3 people raised their hands, and all of them said, you are the one we are nominating.
You are nominating.
So I tried to resist, but it didn't work. So I agreed. And then somebody who was reading masters also decided to contest. But overwhelmingly, they voted for me. I think 99% of the voters voted for me. And that's how I became president of the student wing of NDC. At the time, we were calling it student wing. Then later on, we changed the name to Tertiary Education Institutional Network. Institutional Network. So that's how TAIN came into being. And then, I decided to set it up in other universities. I went to University of Ghana. In those days, there were just 3 universities. University of Ghana, University of
UCC, and then KNUST.
So we set it up in the universities, and the polytechnics also insisted that, in fact, they first insisted we shouldn't call it University Institutions Network. They said we should call it tertiary. So that they who are doing HND and other diploma courses can also be part of it. Then we changed the name to, instead of university, we brought it tertiary. And then we involved them. So I set it up in all the places, and that's how I became the first president of TAIN in Ghana.
So TAIN started from UCC?
From UCC, yes.
With Rashid
it started
Pelpuo.
from KNUST, they failed. So they brought it to here, and then it succeeded.
So it succeeded in your hands?
In my hands,
Led by, so let's say you were the founder?
I was one of the founders
of TAIN.
Yeah, of TAIN. In fact, lawyer Wahid Nanabura, they generated the idea. In fact, when they came to me, they told me, the party said they should see me to make sure. But I was already a member of the PNDC at the time. I was the president of Democratic Union of Ghana in the Upper West region. I was the regional youth coordinator, all within the PNDC ranks. So when I came to the university, I was already a well-enlightened cadre. And then I joined what they call the Eagle Club. We set up an Eagle Club in preparation for a launch of the party. Yeah. So when they came, it's moved on for me to be.
So let's look at your journey into politics. How did you get into politics? Because you were already a founder of TAIN, so it started from there. But let's get into your getting into parliament. How difficult, how easy was it to contest? Your political journey. Let's look at that. How you got into politics. Active
let me start from when I finished this form. I belong to the National Democratic Congress. No, I belong to the I've been missing the West now. To the youth wing of the PNDC.
Okay.
The PNDC set up a youth wing, Democratic Youth League of Ghana, which was in preparation. It was like the younger leadership of the PNDC. The PNDC was not a democratic organization. There was no parliament. There was only the leadership. And then out of the leadership, you have the youth wing, who will move into that leadership. So they set up the Democratic Youth League of Ghana with a presidium. Presidium is the governing body of it. And then so it was made up of the 10 regional bosses in Ghana, plus the 6 or 7 leadership of the Democratic League of Ghana. So I was a regional boss, a regional president of the Upper West region at age 26. So I became the member of the presidium at the national level. And so part of the job I used to do was to organize young people throughout the region. So in all the region, I was present to organize young people towards self-help. It's not like today when everybody's calling the MP, come and do this for us. DC, come and do this. We want government to do our rules for us. No, we organize young people to do everything on their own. Set up on their own farms. If there's farms that is popular in their communities, whatever is popular in their communities, they do it together. They did their own roads. They built their own schools. They did everything on their own. We just brought the idea to them, and they mobilized themselves and did it. They did.
So how did they found it? Like let's talk about founding, doing it like let's say communal labor.
Yes.
So how do they find it? Like finding the.
Okay, let me give you a clear example of some 2 projects I did. I once upon a time in my rounds I went to a village, and then the village. From traveling from that village, Kyerena, that's the name of the village. Traveling from there back to Wa. Those days, bicycles were our means of transport. If you had a motorbike, you were superior. So we were using bicycles to do all the rounds. So, and I was with, I was coming from that village, and I saw a man on a bicycle carrying a pregnant woman behind him, trying to reach Wa. Then I told myself, this shouldn't happen at all. It means that there's no clinic in the whole of the area. About 15 kilometers range, no clinic. You have to carry everybody to Wa. So I thought about having a clinic there. No PESWA, no government budget, nothing. But I said I would do a clinic there. So I wrote a letter to some embassies. One of the embassies was the Canadian embassy, where I was told that they could respond to me. So I wrote a letter, sat in Wa, and posted it to the Canada embassy. The ambassador received the letter, sent somebody to Wa to look for me. And what they said was that, well, they will help us to build a clinic. After the case I made, I did a proposal. I indicated how the people were suffering, what I saw, the need for them to help us and all that. So the Canadian embassy agreed to support us to build a clinic. But this is what they are going to do. They will want us to get a location. They will want us to get the people who will work for voluntary labor. They'll provide the cement. They'll provide anything that we needed. They'll provide them. Then we will do all the other works. And I agreed. So they did that, and we built the clinic. The clinic is still there now, serving the people. Now we did in Wa. There was not a single day nursery in Wa at the time. One. So I decided that we would build a day nursery in Wa. So I was looking for land, and then I found land behind the Wa Cinema Palace, and decided that we were going to build it. So I started asking for help from anybody I thought could help. I went around, organized help. Some of them said they will give me cement. Some said they will give me sand. And then the young people were following me. Everywhere I went, they followed me. So I decided that we'll build a clinic. And that's how we built that. We built the day nursery. And that's how that day nursery, now called 31st December day nursery, because we built it up to the lintel level. And then I needed to change my position. So I needed to move. And so 31st December came in to support in roofing it, and then to make it the clinic that is the dentistry we have today. So after doing all this, I was noted by my people. So in 1996, when I finished the university and then came to be the director of the Youth Leadership Training Institute at ISA, one day I was there, and then, you know, a number of young people came there and said they wanted me to come to WA, to go to WA to contest the elections as the member of parliament. I listened to them. I didn't take an action. I got home. They paid me a visit and kept talking about it. They wanted me to contest the elections. I didn't say anything about it. But the party elders got to hear that there was a name coming up to challenge the present member of parliament. So they called me. I went, and they said, look, we've heard your name. People are saying you should contest the elections. You are so young, and we will advise that you should not make an attempt to contest. I listened to them, and I thanked them. In 2000, 4 years later, I had then finished my master's degree about 2 years earlier. 1998, I finished my master's degree. Then they came again, the young people came again. Agitation was high pitch, and everybody was talking about it. They wanted the member of parliament to exit, and they want Rashid Pelpuo to be the next member of parliament, and it attracted the attention of the elders once again. And then I was called to attend a meeting. I attended a meeting. Once again, I was told that you don't have to contest these elections. We don't want primaries here. We don't want anybody to contest our member of parliament. We think that we don't have to change him. So I had to back down once again. And so in 2004, the member of parliament of WA Central moved to WA East. WA West. Because he's actually from WA West. So he moved, and the place was vacant. So
that was how
I was then doing some consultancy in Tamale. So my constituency chairman gave me a phone call and said, well, you have been fighting to become our candidate for all these years. Now the vacancy has existed. You can come and contest the primaries. I thank him, and then I came to contest the primaries. But let me just go back a little. I told you I was made promoted regional youth coordinator. Subsequently, once I was a regional youth coordinator, there were only four institutes. Youth Institute training people in skill training, giving them skill training. We used to call we call them Youth Leadership Training Institutes. They train you in leadership, and they train you in a skill of your choice. If you want to do masonry, you want to do carpentry, you want to do catering and all that. There were only 4 in the country, and there was none in the northern country, in the northern region. So as a regional youth coordinator, I went to head office and I said, look, it's a little unfair. I've been sending people to Accra, to Takoradi, to Avenapome, to train. Why don't you set up one in the 3 northern regions? They said, okay, go and set up one if you have space. We don't have money to build, but if you have a place where we can set up one, go and start it. So I went to a place, Isa, and saw the location, and I thought that this location was good for it. So I set up, I told them about it, they gave me the go ahead, and we set up that training institute. So as soon as I finished the university, one of my ambitions was to become a teacher. And I tried very hard to become a teacher. It didn't work. In fact, when I went to do my master's, my idea was to teach in the new university. At the time, UDS was new. But when I finished the university, they said, okay, rather than continuing to be the regional youth coordinator, we want you to go back, to go and set up that institute that you have started, and start it for us. And I was happy because anything related to teaching people was my interest. So I went there and became the director of the institute. Even though I was a director, I decided to put in a subject to enable me teach because I love teaching. So I was teaching also.
Okay.
So that's how I built my political climate.
Okay.
I built my view about the world. I conducted myself in such a way that I've become helpful to society, and that defines me. And that also impressed the people who were watching me and thought that I could be their leader. And that's what culminated into my contesting the elections in 2004. And it was a hectic election.
So your first time in Parliament was 2005, let's say.
2005,
2005,
yes.
And you've been there till now.
Yes.
How many years now?
I'm in my 20th year.
Wow.
Yeah. At the end of this year and at the beginning of next year, I would have been 20 years in Parliament.
Okay, so 20 years in Parliament. Let's look at educational system. Let's look at educational system. You talked about a lot about your. I was listening attentively. From the sixth form, you have to have a national service before going to the university. Let's compare previously to our current educational system. Do you think is the best? Are we our leaders? Are you helping the educational system now because you are part of it? You are in Parliament now.
Yeah.
Is our educational system up to standard? Let's say that it is up to standard.
First of all, yes and no.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on the individual whether you are capable of translating the system into real use to society, and whether you can cope up with the studies depends on the commitment of the individual. I read education as my first degree. I read economics as a matching subject, a diploma in economics and a degree in education. My idea was to go out and teach. Now, in education, there are three factors that define the person. First is the individual who is committed to studies. Second is the community, trying to help that individual. The community is defined to be the house where he comes from, the parents, the guardian. How do they bring up the child? How does the person himself commit himself to study? How does the school influence his studies and make it successful? So these three components define how your educational input is going to translate into practical application. So if you ask me whether we have a success, whether we are doing well or whether it's successful, you know, in these days, I said yes and I said no. Yes, because I've seen lots of young people who come out and are doing marvelous, you know, within the short period of time when they stay in secondary school and just direct into the university, they still come out to be brilliant doctors and lawyers and teachers, engineers and nurses. They do so well. But you also have another aspect of it where by the commitment of the person doing, you have the translation which is negative. I have met lecturers who have complained that when they mark the exams of university students, some university students, I mean, they are shocked. They can't even spell simple words. They can't construct strong sentences, correct sentences. They are unable to appreciate the learning going on. So that means that the person has a problem. So if you define that, if you say that person's level of or his composure in education is the overall composure of education of everybody, you'll be unfair. And if you say the people who are doing so well is also equal to everybody doing well, you might not be right. So it's a yes and no affair. Some are doing well with a limited number of years they stay in school and they perform so well. Others are doing so badly and would have needed more time. I thought that if I were in this present system, I would have found it very difficult because I was a slow learner from the beginning.
Okay.
Even though I passed all my exams, you know, from class 1 up to when I entered the university. Sorry, after when I entered secondary school. I thought that I learned very slowly because those days you just go to school after school, put down everything, books, everything, they take everything. You just walk like that to school. So if you were not extra brilliant, you wouldn't have been able to perform well. And I didn't even study hard. I just passed my exams and I didn't know why I passed.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it were in this era, maybe I wouldn't have performed well. So for the many people who would have needed more time and are rush into secondary school, rush into the university, their performance is poor. Yeah. And for as a result, there is a gap which should have been filled by the slow learners so that they wouldn't drop out quickly. They'll be able to stay longer in school and be able to pick up quickly. I only picked up when I entered secondary school from 1. That was when I picked up, and I was even I was surprised at my performance because in elementary school, I just wrote the exams to pass. I never thought about second, third, fourth. No. I thought I wasn't there. My best was he's 12th, he's 13th, and all that. It's when I entered secondary school that the first and third positions were things I was looking for. Yeah.
So do you think the educational system should have a review, like?
Yeah. So there should be. I feel there should be space enough for those who don't pass at the third level of the secondary school. There should be space enough to have remedial courses for them. Let them stay longer for another 1 year to be able to write and pass. Okay. Yeah, it will help them.
All right. I want to acknowledge Mac FM. Mac FM is transmitting this interview live from WA. So thank you, Mac FM, for transmitting this interview live from WA. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah. So Honorable, let's move on to state captures, state properties on sale, and your take on that.
It's a terrible situation we find in this regime. It is as if after Nanado there won't be any government at all, as if the world is coming to an end. So let's grab everything and keep everything. In WA, lots of state lands are already sold. Nurses' quarters are sold to individuals. The fisheries department, they have gone to sell their land where their quarters where they sold the land. They go to the parks and gardens, sold their land. They go to schools, cut off part of their lands to sell to people. I mean, it's strange how things are coming up. I mentioned it in Parliament once. I brought the minister to Parliament and asked him why the sale of land. He started recounting to me how NDC also sold lands and all that. He didn't answer the question. Why do you think that it is time to take off all government lands and sell them to yourselves? They are not selling them to the public. They are selling to NPP guys. And I think that when we come back to power, it will be important to examine all that and possibly to take some of the lands back. And I appreciate President Atta Mills for what he did. When he came to power, you see where the Foreign Affairs Ministry is. All that land was sold to individuals and state lands meant for state enterprise, state investments, projects. They sold them all out. He took them back, and that's how come he built put up that building there. So you begin asking yourself, Nanado's government, what is wrong? Why in the midst of all the lands all over, you are selling all the lands in cantonments, you are selling all the lands in Ridge, you go and sell the lands everywhere you find them, not to the public but to yourselves. What is happening? Are you afraid that the world is going to end in the next few days, and that if you didn't do that, something will happen, or that apart from this time, no MPP government will ever come to power? So you want to grab everything and keep it to yourselves? It's a terrible situation we are facing. And I think that state capture must have an end. It's not just state capture. All companies that are institutions that are related to states and are privately owned or have the potential of being private are being grasped by them. They buy the shares there, they own them. And then all sources of income to the government, statutory funding to government, they have gone to mortgage them, like Get Fund. They've given Get Fund out and then taking money, like Road Fund, like all this fund, ESLA, all of them, they have taken them out and then they have taken money as a result. And where is the money? Nobody knows where it's gone. They have spent it. Spent it on what? We don't know. Because if John Mahama borrowed a total of $120 billion accumulated with all the things that were borrowed in the Nkrumah regime up to John Mahama, 120 billion, and then you come and borrowed 640 billion, and then at the end of it all, what John Mahama has done is like 10 times what you are doing now. So where is the money? You keep asking yourself. Did I say dollars? It's Ghana cedis.
Okay, so now, but there's this perception that companies progress when they go private, or private-owned companies progress than the state-owned companies. Have we ever thought of that, or have we ever heard of that, and why do you think it should be so?
We have a lot of Nkrumah established companies that eventually some have moved into the private sector and are not doing well. It doesn't match the assertion that if you are a public company and you move into private, you will do better. No, it's not something that you can put your finger on and say it is the case. I have a lot of examples. I can't remember many of them now. A number of companies that have moved and are not still doing well, So I'm sure you are talking about the Senate hotels built by the workers of Ghana, which are a source of investment at a critical time when we didn't have any hotel of class. Senate had to come in to build these hotels to give Ghana a leverage in the competitiveness in tourism and all that. So we got these hotels which are which were at that stage very high level hotels and kept Ghana apart in the midst of the Committee of Nations in the struggle to attract tourism. Today, Senate says, or the government says, Senate is selling them. Not because Senate is selling them, it is because the government says they are selling. And it is not the public that is buying it, it is the government person who is coming to buy. And they have done everything for him to be able to buy the property. It's unacceptable. Whatever the case is, morality, our common morality wouldn't allow, and then the concept of conflict of interest should not allow a minister, no matter what situation you find yourself, to be the one to purchase those things, if even Senate wanted to sell them. But we think it is not Senate that wants to sell them. From the unfolding events and from the pronouncements made by Senate itself, it is not Senate itself that wants to sell. It is government that is inducing Senate to say they are selling. Okay. Thank God,
yes, we do.
The workers of Ghana have risen, and thank my in-law and my brother and comrades in arms, Ablakwa, who raised the issue and fought along with us to get them to back down. The people of Ghana should always strive to fight for what belongs to them and not allow strong governments or supposedly strong and shell-faced governments to try to snatch away what belongs to them. It's not allowed and cannot be allowed to continue. Yeah. So this concept of government property being grasped is a very, very common thing in our present situation. And whatever we can do to make sure we put a stop to it, we should.
Right. I'll go back to the education system, free senior high school.
Yeah.
There has been a bill at the parliament now, and I think you deliberated on. There has been a deliberation in that. So, free senior high school. Let's look at the advantages and disadvantages. Is it worth it? How it's going? Like it's free now. Looking at the infrastructure, how the shift system and stuff. Let's look at that. Is it how it should be?
You see, in the Constitution of Ghana, 1992 Constitution, there's a clause that directs that we run free secondary education. It's not like something founded by Nanado or John Mahama. It is there, directed there, that we should progressively, that's underlined, progressively move this nation into free senior high education. So it's not something that you say, oh, I'll bring it, I'm going to withdraw it. It's not withdrawable. It is there. John Mahama started it, interpreting the Constitution to mean progressively, as the Constitution itself has indicated. And then he said he will start with all day schools. You will go to school free. Then he will gradually move it into situations where gradually it will come to pass without people suffering, government suffering and all that, the budget suffering. It becomes part of your life as you move gradually and progressively into it. Then this government came. They started announcing, we don't want to do it progressively. It means they have violated the Constitution. We don't want to do it progressively. We want it just to happen. And then they brought it into being and ran into problems. One, you don't have accommodation. Two, you don't have the money. And so every single time they are lacking. They can't find money to feed the students. They don't have accommodation enough for the students. They have to run shifts. They have to borrow money. Everything about it came to a halt. A mess, as we see it now. Now, if you ask Ghanaians, many of them say, even let us pay, we are better off than that, because our children were better off, we're not spending the money we are spending now, and all that. It's because of the way it is implemented, the rash way to win the minds of people and to get them to vote for them for political reasons. They meddle into a good policy and mangle it. So it becomes a problem. All the challenges we find in free senior high, which is a concept defined already in the Constitution, all the challenges we find is because of the method of implementation.
Should have been piloted.
We went beyond the piloting stage and started implementing it. And then the Constitution say progressively as the budget allows you. That's what they said. So progressively as your budget allows you. So then you will do it progressively and it touches on everybody. And then you will settle down free, have infrastructure, have money to run it, and then give Ghanaians decent education that is competitive throughout the world. You know, now it is somehow some education we are getting. Yeah. All
right. We'll go for a quick commercial break, and then right after that, we're going to talk about the state of the economy, how our state, the economy, it's now. So, thanks to Radio Mac for transmitting this interview live. Shout out to Malawi, Interior Minister, Education Minister, and then I think one other minister. You are watching us live on Facebook. Big shout out to you all the way from Malawi. We just got your message. You are watching us live from Malawi. The Interior Minister, the Education Minister, and one other minister from Malawi. The Defense Minister is also watching us live from Malawi. So a big shout out to you. Thank you for watching us this morning. Yes. So Honor, we are back here.
Yeah.
We are back here to the studio.
Let me say hi to my friends who are political friends who are watching from Malawi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we are back. State of the economy.
Well, we have a very terrible state of the economy right now. It's unthinkable that the economy was driven to a point of blossoming into a greater force, and then it's retarded right now. And I recall that I was a member of the economic management team. And when we were paying 58% of GDP, we were debt servicing and paying our debts using 58% of GDP, we said no, we shouldn't go beyond that. And that was when we went to the IMF to stabilize the economy and then to stop engaging more people into the economy, because we felt that the economy cannot contain all of it, and then to now grow the economy up to 7%. Then we go back to employment and then of expenditure. It was a discipline we imposed on ourselves. Fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline means that you don't spend beyond your means. You spend within your means. So we spent within our means, and then working with the IMF, we agreed that we will give a space of 3 years and then start growing the economy again, up to a point when we can now invest what we have. So that was the point we exited power.
Okay.
And then the understanding was that the following year we will now be growing at 7%. And indeed, when we lost, the following year when the MPP came, they were growing the 7%. It was all planned.
Okay.
So they thought it was their plan. Now, within that same year, after that same year of growth of 7%, they started falling, and we have been falling since then. They blame it on COVID, which was only less than a year.
So I was just about asking.
Yeah, they blame it on
COVID,
they blame it on COVID.
Russia-Ukraine war.
Russia-Ukraine war, everything about the world. You see, when your externalities have a great influence on your present circumstances in running an economy, it shows that you don't have a plan beyond the ordinary. You don't have a plan beyond the domestic. Your economic plan must take into consideration external events having a direct impact on you, domestic events having a direct impact on you, and then take all that into consideration. That's why the economy thinks when other things are the same. You see, it used to be when all things are the same, but now it is when other things are the same. Then you can move in a certain direction, because you can't hold every other thing equal. So within the space of your time, you look at when other things within your space of operation are equal, then you can move forward. So you look at all the circumstances that impact on your economy, and then you plan. What is happening now is that they didn't take any other factors into consideration. They just said, 7%, then we are growing. They didn't know that you don't plan like that. You don't just move on like that. You see, you move on. Sometimes you have to move forward and move backwards in order to leap. So right now we have a problem. We have a situation where we have overborrowed. We have a situation where there is lack of fiscal discipline, where we spend more than we can afford. We talk about free senior high. We talk about investing in factories all over the country which are failing because you spend all that money and there's nothing to show. You talk about doing a dam in every village. You spend all that money and there are no dams.
Agenda 111.
Agenda 111. You talk about it. Everything that you conceive and you cannot perceive it, then there's a problem. The understanding of an economy is that you have two issues. Either you invest in something that brings you an immediate returns, like we invested in our gas infrastructure and it's giving us returns. We invested in the Amari, it's giving us returns. Or you invest in something that gives you long-term returns. They don't know that. They just thought that an economy means spending money. Then they will go borrow money, and then they pass somewhere, take commission. After taking the commission, they say, okay, let's invest it in this. Then they invest it and give it to a contractor, take 10% or 20%, and then the investment doesn't come to being. Yesterday, I was driving through a road to my house. The road had been constructed about 1.5 years ago. It's all spoiled now. big potholes, small dams on that road. You can't believe it. So and that defines the economy of this country. They have invested in something which does not produce results. All of it are now full of potholes all over, as if they didn't exist at all. So that's why when our external partners are investing in projects, they no longer want to give money to the governments. World Bank, IMF, European Union, and all that. Quite recently, I had a meeting with the European Union ambassador. He came to my house for dinner with his colleagues. And from there, they went to inspect projects, roads they are constructing. They are supervising it themselves. Give it to the present government, they will chop the money, they won't do the work. I heard some of them saying that, oh, those roads are constructed by the MPP. They are not done. Which MPP government put their money there? These are done by our partners who are investing and who are seeing to it that the real job is done. They can no longer rely on government to do these things. So the economy is nothing to write home about. Right now we are paying more than 100% of GDP to service our debts. Maybe many people don't understand what I just said. In everything we earn, from year one to the end of the year, all the taxes we pay, all the grants we receive, all the money that comes into the kitchen, we use it all to go and pay for debts. And we have nothing anymore. It means to do something further in this country, it means you have to continue borrowing. You keep borrowing because you don't have anything. And all the sources of statutory funding, that is sources where you put a law and say that, look, when money comes, get funds. When get fund comes, use it to do your schools. So every year you have to, the law says you have to take a certain percent of the GDP and put it into get fund. They have taken that get fund. They have taken money from somewhere and then given the get fund to the people where they take the money. And that's happening to all the state funding. So you don't have a budget because everything you earn in the budget you use it to pay debts. You don't have statutory funding, you use all of it to mortgage. And that's the economy we are running.
All right, let's see about share 24-hour economy now. My mention is Semu Kakrana at C4 and you do baby and economics no aqua eventi. You are a young novel Rashid Pelpuo and Semo can't or mind or my gun as I bring a bob bread and you do not bring what to say. I am do baby and penny for dinner, simply a pass on part to say, yeah, COVID and I fear Russia, the Ukraine war, now finding my but now so no when they say, and company for to Tunia may ye nanke ye Bob Brown or sending a bottom tea and on the Bob Branke young bedru baby ya baba bedri into on the cunning and aqua say, you're penny for to Triano now ye, I'm penny for. I said, why, Mama Yaka tea quote according to your size. There's a quote in there, so saying Yanni board dancing and penny for. Am I a photo say, and I could make the wood dear now, but let's say, we any say, and a crack a baba de a baby do baby, do this out Ghana or Briar Bonin and I 12 draw a G and walk tried the net toward that so tried the na to say, Bibiana Quaquas Aquasiano. Yet you two and I say, a year a can say, tax Cacrana a digit and tax na a digit and can be and commit me a Bibiama Ghana if we say any tax a edging and I did Tiaka. It's not so man Ghana at the cat say, a brabo year born in Nano. And next year, Ghana, one Penicas will be a Bibiam or Magana. This was answer for Bobosia. And talk about Bosia Ghana for an essay and a wood and a scan be a wood to any son for so. Now, so a 2 yet one case at 2 on soon for so a 2 on case at me did you maybe more Magana. It's Miss Emma with Juma Yana, said to me, Bosia, Juma near be, and there be an on swing and a sa aquanano to see a dear, your son should be Tiaka. It is baby Ghana, a bobre, a quack do no, and no, and now you are Rashid Pelpuo, now or church the move from just say, do baby economics, no, yen, and that into what you Kakram, so let me actually wow, shaman on was a sabrady, 2 1 year Giano, Ghana, Braba, a boinano, Yeditiaka. It's in idea before be a free baby, ever. Honorable, let's go back to state of 24-hour economy. There's been so many explanations, so many descriptions, so many. We've heard a lot of explanations, like it's in different angles. So 24-hour economy. Explain to us and how it's going to work, how it's going to benefit Ghanaians.
Okay, so essentially we have gotten to a point in the economic life of this country where the economy is almost dying. We have fallen and we have been helped to rise. Now, help to rise is coming from the World Bank, the IMF, which this government said they won't go to. Now they have been there. I like how John Mahama put it. He said, when we advised them to go to IMF because we're all dying because of the failed economy, they refused to go. We warned them, you will not go there now. You will go there when you are in a hospital bed. So they were pushed there in a hospital bed because Ghana was about to die. The economy was about to collapse. Now, after seeing all this situation where somebody is now coming to impose discipline on how we act, it's not because of the money. Giving us money is just one aspect of it. The key aspect of the IMF and World Bank coming into our lives is to make sure they hold the government from overspending money, for being accountable for every money they spend, and for not being in discipline in running the economy. They keep you in watch. That is just one aspect of it. Then they give you money to back up because you don't have money anymore. You have borrowed to the extent that you can't run the economy. So they give you soft loans. They give you a loan that will enable you to keep working because you are dying. That's what they are doing now. Now we are coming in to say that, look, don't depend on the situation where they help you to work. Depend also on the situation where you yourself will begin to rise and work for yourself. There's a huge gap between where we should have been and where we are now. We are far behind progress. So we said, look, in order to cover up the gap in the development gap that has occurred, you need to work much more than you are working. So we impose on ourselves a policy of 24-hour economy where consistently, if you have the opportunity to work and you close because you don't have security, you don't have power, you don't have resources, Ghana government will come in to help you to continue working, so that we can cover up with the huge lapse of the economy that we have left behind. We have to make sure the agriculture is modernized, agriculture is industrialized, agriculture has a business factor, or the agribusiness, that what you work and earn, you translate it into something that you can sell. In doing all this, you need much more time than you have now. So it's 24-hour economy is very simple. It's simply to say that, look, a lot of time has been wasted. We need to work hard. We need to be owners of our own economy. We need to be owners of our own policy. We need to commit in working more than we have been working to catch up with the gap that has been opened by the failure and inadequacy in policy input and the huge incompetence of the ruling administration is huge. I have always said it. Sometimes you make political statements like Bawumia used to make and say John Mahama was incompetent. If we want real incompetence, it is now. Look, let me explain to you, and it is true, directly from my heart, that they did not understand what an economy was, including all that Bawumia was saying. They didn't understand. He said, oh, don't worry, there's a lot of money in Bank of Ghana. It is only somebody who has no knowledge in the economy who says that there's money in Bank of Ghana. You create the money and put it there. He's not talking about how to create the money. He said, oh, there's already money there. Who put the money there? It was what John Mahama put there. That's what he said, there's a lot of money there. Or when we come, we don't need to borrow. We'll go to the Bank of Ghana and take it. You can't imagine somebody who had been a deputy governor of Bank of Ghana speaking that way. Is the Bank of Ghana growing money? It doesn't grow money. Money is there because you put it there. And you don't have money gets into Bank of Ghana. When you export, you work and export. They pay you through the bank. And they retain the foreign currency and give you a local currency. So you have a lot of currency in Bank of Ghana. Only for the business people who want to borrow, who want to take money again and go to buy. You can't take Ghana cedis to go to America or Japan or China or Ethiopia or Nigeria to buy. You go to Bank of Ghana. They give you dollars. They don't give the dollars to you. You go to buy there. They send the money to cover you. So the money is there to run business, to boost the economy. It's also a lender of last resort. That where there is no money with any bank, the Bank of Ghana will borrow money to the bank so that they can keep going. It's not a place where you have plenty of money where you can go and withdraw and don't put it there. That's the first number one inadequacy, incompetence, non-economic decision he took. That there's money there. The second one was that, what do? You can put road tolls in the roads and then you get your money. Where are the road tolls? They realize even road tolls now, they said how much does it come? That they get only $58 million Ghana cedis out of it. So they have closed it down. So you see, these are not people who knew what they were about. If you have an argument, you may be arguing from a political perspective. But the reality is that they didn't understand the economy. The second misunderstanding of the economy is that economic progress is made by the progress of investment domestically. Domestic investment, domestic generation of funding through export, through taxes. Baumia never talked about such a thing. Nobody talked about that. They only talked about free this, we'll give you free this. Where is the money coming for you to say free? They didn't think about it. So when they came, the money that was deposited by the NDC, the reserves of $268 million and all the monies that we kept, after spending it, they didn't know what to do. So they kept borrowing and borrowing until they can't borrow anymore because we are stifled. So that's the kind of thing we are facing today. We are bogged down by the huge impact of debt, by our inability to fulfill our debt requirements. And you know, we declared bankrupt in this country. We said we can't pay our debts, and we declared bankrupt. I think in the 1992 dispensation up to now, the only country that has declared, the only government that has declared bankrupt is this government. We can't pay our debts.
Okay, Honorable, let's go back to your achievements. Member of Parliament for 4 consecutive times, or 5. This is your fifth.
Fifth.
Yes. So the fifth. So Member of Parliament for West Central for the 5th time. Your achievements. I think we have some footages, so we'll be showing you the footages and then we talk about. We talk about it. So we're going to talk about your achievements so far. I'm not there, but let's say so far so good.
Yeah, so far so good. You know, one of the examples I cite is when I came to office.
Okay, so I think we have some footages on our screen, and Honorable is going to explain the kind of project he was embarking in. So Honorable, so let's first footage. Let's talk about this footage.
Oh, this footage. There's a growing suburb of Wa where there are no roads at all. The people cried. They said there were no roads. The place is dark. I give them lights. They still said there are no roads. So we needed to construct some roads there. And my idea was that I can't be a government to do roads, but I can open up the place. And this is what you are seeing. I got these machines to open up the roads for the people. Yeah.
All right. So
and so it's personal, what do you call it? An investment directly from the MP
okay.
to support the people and to make sure that the place is open,
okay.
For movement by the people.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to other projects. So aside this project, what are another donation?
Yeah. The fire service complained to me. If you entered their rooms where they spend the nights waiting to provide services in case there is any fire outbreak, you'll be sorry, and it will hurt you to see what you see. Mattresses that had been used for 10 years, spoiled, destroyed, were the ones they were sleeping on. I went there and I was shocked with what I saw.
So
they had appealed to the government over and over and over, and they were not responding. So I needed to respond. So I bought these mattresses to give to the fire service people, so that it will cure their problem, if not fully, but substantially.
Okay. All right. And then I heard there was another street light here.
Yeah. When the killing of people started, I decided that not the DC couldn't provide light for everybody. He got to a point, he did what he could. So I decided that I would help. So when the first killings were done, I provided 100 pieces of street lights to the Wa. He's most like a king. He's a chief. He's the paramount chief of Wa.
Wow, okay.
He's a paramount chief over paramouncies. He's like Asante being a paramount chief over several paramouncies. That's the kind of paramouncies we have in Wa.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There are a lot of paramouncies under the Wa now. So I went to donate 100 street bulbs.
All right. So we're going to education.
Yeah. So you see these motorbikes. I realized that one of the concerns I had was that education was not going the way I wanted it to go. So they told me they couldn't do supervision enough. So I bought motorbikes and handed over to them so they can give to the supervisors. You also saw some furniture. In some places I went, there was no furniture. I bought furniture for them, to reach as many as I could. In this place, there are some school blocks that when I came, this place, for example, after constructing the school block, the roof was picked off by the wind. So I needed to reconstruct the place. This is some of the furniture I gave to the Ghana Education Service, to help them.
Okay.
And you can see also in this picture some iron furniture I did, and some gifts I gave to some schools, reading material, and a boho which I brought from. I went to Turkey. I met some friends who agreed to come and do bohos for us. Those are the bohos, and I gave some training to some 500 women.
Oh.
Yeah, in developing their skills to be able to do sandals and do other things. So you see, in some place you find me looking at some sandals, and some places I went to when I was a member of parliament. I went there, they had no school block at all. In fact, they had sheds and then having classes under trees. So I constructed some classroom blocks, not by me as a person, but I lobbied to get funding. So these are some of the
training.
The construction works done. Yeah, and this is my former school, the experimental primary, where I went as a class, as a pupil.
Oh, okay.
I have constructed a new classroom block there. It's yet to be opened.
Okay.
And then I went there also to give them some books some time ago, and supported them to repair their boho and all the kinds of things. you can see that, you know, I was having a handshake with one of the masters, and the students were there watching. And this is a village under close to Wa, where I did the re-roofing.
Okay. So moving from education, let's look at security. How is security so far in Wa ahead of elections? Because Wa has been for some time now has not been there. There's no peace. Let's say that there's so much mahala. Let me put it that way. So how is the security preparations towards the election, and how is Wa now security-wise?
Well, we have security concerns in Wa, terrible security concerns, and I'm worried about the situation we find now. I'm worried because government doesn't seem to be concerned about what is happening. We have had situations where we lost loss of lives as a result of either diseases or as a result of a serial situation of killing. Remember, 2 years ago, the CSM disease attacked Upper West severely. People were dying. Up to 8 people died, and no single comment made by the president about what was happening. Number of deaths occurred subsequently. No concern, nothing. In today's war, we have lots of serial killing taking place. An accumulation of about 16 people died. No comment by the president, no comment by the vice president. It's like it's normal. You hear one person die in New York, and then you are sending your condolences and then praying for them and even threatening to go and, you know, do the funeral. And 16 people died in your country, in one province or one municipality of your country, and not a word is said about it. This is the president and the vice president who are now asking us to vote for them. It's serious. So right now we have the serial killing going on. They try to look for soft targets, watchmen who are sleeping. They go to attack them and kill them. We don't know what they killed them for, but you can see that some parts of their bodies are taken off. So security is a serious concern. I have done some work to energize the security to keep working hard. Bought air conditions to put in the police services. Maybe you see some of them in the pictures. I have given them a computer, you know, to make sure they keep track with events. I have done a number of issues, supported them to construct a fence wall around the police station, and a number of things that will let the security know that I'm seriously with them, I'm concerned about the need for security in Wa. So let's look at the other achievements, maybe which were not captured here. What are some of the other achievements, health-wise, other achievements? So you see me standing here with the district director of health. I donated a number of beds, hospital beds, to be distributed to the clinics that, or the chief compounds that are in Wa. This picture shows, the day I went to do the donation. This one is some of the boreholes I'm trying to construct in places where we don't have, you know, pipe-borne water. So we are doing boreholes to them to help them.
All right. So let's look at youth development in our country now. Yes, a lot is been happening. You are doing what it takes at Wa. So let's look at the country at large. What is the NDC government planning? What are your plans for the youth?
Maybe I think in the discussion I told you I've worked with the young people.
Yes.
In fact, all my life as a working adult, before I became a politician, 99% of the time was with young people. Or let me say 80% was with working with young people. I started off as a youth organizer, district youth organizer of the Democratic Youth League of Ghana, regional youth organizer. Then I worked for the National Youth Council. Then I became Minister for Youth and Sports. And then, you know, so youth is my heart. How do we help our youth to become somebody? Young people are not young adults. They are young people. They are growing adults. They are people with a futuristic thinking in in their lives that one day I'll be A, I'll be B, I'll be C. So whatever you can do to nurture them to grow to be responsible citizens, you do. So in the administration, in the future administration of John Dramani Mahama, our commitment to young people is fully in support of their growth, you know, in education, in training, in skill building, in supporting them to set up businesses for those who want to be in business, and in supporting those who want to go into agriculture to go into agriculture. It's a comprehensive approach to the development of young people. And right now what we are doing is that we eventually support them if they have organized themselves into groups and demonstrating the need for us to help in a certain way. Then we go out there to help them. But at large, we would definitely provide any kind of support that a youth will require to grow. Those in education, we will do as we used to do. We granted a lot of scholarships to them to do medicine, to do law, to do all kinds, to be teachers, and etc., etc. And at one point, we emphasized on the youth employment scheme, modified it to mean that for all young people, you give them training and you help them to be earning some amount of money, so that at the end of the day, they can, for those who want to re-register and write, they'll re-register and write their exams.
So Honorable, let's go to the screens. I have some presentations where yes, so let's talk about those presentations too.
Yeah, sometimes some people come into real difficulties in life. You know, when they appeal to me, I give them support. This is just one clear example. You know, that is a check being given by me to this lady to support her.
Okay. Okay. So there's another.
Yeah. So here is also at the hospital. You know, when COVID came, the drugs could only be stored at a very organized place and at a high pitch storage facility. We didn't have that facility in Wa municipality. So I needed to construct a building to house them, to house the drugs, and to give more vent to our fight against COVID. So that was the reason why I constructed this building, a cold room, where they could store the drugs and use it to inject or vaccinate our people against COVID. Okay. So that's a picture you are seeing.
Okay, so
yeah, and I try to touch everywhere. These are weavers, people who weave, and there comes a time when you needed to support them, you know, to be able to stand on their own. And here I went to inspect what we have supported them to be doing. Okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. So we are still on the weavers, right?
Yes. So it's still the same story of me encouraging people to be on their own. Okay. You know, it is something I love so much. In fact, we can't all go and line up in offices and ask them to be employed. Let's train some people to be on their own. When I came, I saw these drugs here. I asked you said the owner. You talked about the owner. This person is not employed by anybody. This is his job. He worked hard, developed the capacity to manufacture drugs and to treat people, keep them healthy for life. And this guy can't be employed by any hospital. He himself is a boss and has set up his own hospital. That's the kind of thing I want to see. So when I talk about the situation where people can be on their own, it doesn't matter what you do with your life. You can't say you are not employed. I use some examples and people are blaming me for it. Now, if I say, if you go to a place and there are no schools there, you can set up a place on your own and teach. I used to do that in my youth. When I finished secondary school And between the period I started working and when I was not working, I started running a school, free for everybody. Eventually, the students themselves decided to contribute money for me and give to me. When I finished this form, before I entered the university and before I started doing any serious work, I ran classes, free classes, organized classes for people, because that was the need at the time in the community. If you are a nurse, you train to be a nurse.
Oh, okay. Oh no, but there's another donation I want us to talk about.
Yes, so this is often I donate cement to communities. This was about some 50 bags of cement I gave to one community. I've been giving, right now I'm about to give 100 bags of cement to 2 organizations. When I get back to work, I will do them. So these are regular situations. I do some donations. So this is my my director of communications handing over the cement to the community.
Okay, Honorable, let me get to the phone and then open the phone lines for our viewers also to contribute and then get back to you. Tiebusia obetimi afre na yedi nkomo bebre Honorable Rashid Pelpuo and I am a guest na ye twetwe nkomo yaka Misremo ada de bia meka to say adwenkyere enya temdidie mesre say wo fra question na wo ebisa Honorable anasa contribution wo kan wasema misre eyedibre enokura atemdidie enim kawa no abomode ya na wayeden watchre wadwen so we are going to open the phone lines and you can say call in your contributions, your comments, whatever you have to say, but please no insult, your opinion, you just come out with your opinion, your comments, whatever you have for Honorable, but I beg you, there shouldn't be any insult. It's ubetimi afre 0263404018 0302958894 0302958894 and I say 0263404018 inti ubetimi afre and I pay Honorable Hanom say baby afre free be and we can call Honorable and then whatever you have for him. All right, so Honorable, let's get back to, we were talking about the youth development. I want to chip in this. There are so many collapsed factories in the system. Meanwhile, Ghanaian youth are complaining of unemployment. Most people are home. Even what to eat, 1 square meal a day is difficult for them to. So how? And then we were talking about reclaiming state lands and state properties that are being sold. So what is happening to our factories?
Well, we are in an economy which is in a reverse gear. Yeah, so it's having a direct impact on how we run our lives. Prices are very high. If you run a factory, paying electricity is is difficult. You buy items, produce something, the next moment you sell at a certain price, you go to buy with the money you have, prices are high. You can only produce half.
Let me pick my first caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling.
Hello.
I'm from Adekye Mu Nsem.
Okay. So let me hear you, please.
This honorable person, he is a fair example in what every lady trying to have accommodation. Anybody that can have the call and talk back about honorable maybe that might be political propaganda. He is a very good example in my town. Every community is able to have academics.
Wow. All right.
I'm very happy you hear telling people what they have done for me. It's not a lie. All what he said to me. I'm going to tell you I'm very sorry.
Okay. Your name, please.
Is it?
Your name?
Abdul Sadiq.
Abdul Sadiq.
Yes, please.
All right, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Okay. Honorable, yeah. So
Yeah, I want to thank Abdul Sadiq for this this call, and I appreciate it. Yeah. So when we came to education, I wanted to mention something. You know, when I entered Parliament for the first time, two things struck my attention: water and education. There was no water in Wa. People were drinking water and getting guinea worm. Others were getting cholera. In fact, the year I entered, a number of people died of cholera. So I told myself, I want to change the circumstances of Wa. I want to make sure there's clean drinking water in Wa. Today, there's nowhere in Wa can you go and you won't find clean drinking water. In fact, we have even, the NDC administration has piped water right from Jamboso, a village far away from Wa, from the Black Water, right into Wa town. Wow. So we don't have a problem with drinking water. And there were only 2 doctors I knew about when I entered Parliament. And I told myself, look, we need to improve the situation in Wa. Wow. I mean, you can't have a traditional ancient town like Wa with 400 years of self-administration, chieftaincy, and you can't find doctors in Wa. It's unbelievable. So I started sponsoring doctors. I was challenged the last time to mention some of the doctors. I mentioned 12 names of people who have directly have an influence on to become doctors. So we don't have a problem with that now.
So I'm also challenging you to mention names.
Pardon?
I'm also challenging you to mention names.
Of course, you have to. When I mentioned the names, what happened was that some people called me and said, look, now we are grown and we are elder people. If we start mentioning our names on radio like that, it's not good. You know, but a lot of them came through me and became doctors. What I want to say is not to say I want to mention their names, but to say if you are committed into achieving something and you put your eye on it and you put your soul on it, eventually you get a resource. So we now have lots of doctors coming from Wa. Many of them are not working inside Wa, but the fact is that we have them, people coming from Wa who are doctors. You know, so it's another good thing that has happened to us. Is to boost the people and to get them to know that you too can be anything. If you come from Wa, you can be anything. You can be a doctor, you can be a nurse, you can be a minister. I want to put that in the minds of my people, that the guy from Wa is one of the greatest you can find in Ghana, and that he should be confident that he can go anywhere and shine, including going abroad. And shining there.
All right. Honorable, I have a number of messages here, so let's this one is coming from Ali Abdullah. We shall resist the attempt of selling all state lands and properties to their family and friends. All right. Ambitious youth, wonderful delivery. Thank you. This current government has no vision for future generation. Ambitious youth. All right. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
We didn't be free.
Yeah. I'm Shaibu calling from Sun.
All right, Shaibu, let me hear you out. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Shaibu, let's hear you out.
Yeah, I said I'm from Wa.
Okay.
Precisely a village called Sun.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah, I want to say a very good morning from one of the for a fantastic submission.
Wow.
I think he's one of the great people we can vote on in 1 year. So looking at the initiatives he brought, I think at the moment you cannot afford to lose him.
Okay.
So what I want to say is that you will remain his mandate coming in the final elections, so that you continue doing the good work in favor of the good people of Wa.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I'm calling Mohammed. I'm from Wa.
Okay, Mohammed, let's hear you out.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear what Dr. Rashid Pelpuo, the contribution. You have really done well for the people of Wa.
Wow.
And we are grateful for all you have been doing to the people of Wa.
Okay.
And he can't do it alone. My concern is that Rome wasn't built in a day and she doesn't have one person who did it. So at least as a mature politician, it should give way to other people to also step in. For instance, the director of congregation should give way to some people, young people like that also step in. We'll be very glad for him. We love him very much and we are grateful for him. But should give way to other people to also come in. He can't do the work alone. Some people must also take the movement to continue on. That is all I have to say.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for calling. Okay, so some of them was said Mahama Najara, Honorable Dr. Rashid Pelpuo say, oh, more fire. All right. This NPP government is incompetent in a way that Ghanaians cannot even explain. NPP never again. Ali Abdullah, Honorable Dr. Rashid Pelpuo is one of the most honest and true politicians in our time. Sami Kwe, Leviticus Paris, good morning. NPP, Dr. Baumia is going to be in hands down. All right, okay. Hello, good morning.
We have done that for the community and we appreciate every year we organize some games for the youth to now the football develop the council of the youth develop stuff. And we always appreciate that. And what for things we have done there, we cannot pronounce or mention them.
Okay.
That we are thank what you have done for us.
Oh, okay. Your name and where you called from?
I'm calling from Adipara Adjapara Camp. You know where I'm calling from.
Okay.
Adipara Adjapara.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry.
All right, so thanks for calling. Let's go. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from?
Please, my name is Ami. I'm calling from Wa.
Okay.
I joined not quite long.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've asked Honorable about the killing.
Yes.
What is happening in Wa right now?
Oh, I did that.
I don't know what you've done that. If you've done that, but I wanted him to address that.
Okay, he has already addressed that. You can go to our Facebook page, like TV Ghana.
That's demonstration already, but I think that's good enough.
Yes, and I'm saying he has already addressed the issue, so you can go to our page on Facebook, Lucky TV Ghana, and get the full interview. Thank you. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, madam. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Abdul Hassan from Pelpuo.
Okay, Ahmed, let's hear you out. Yeah,
I want to thank my honorable for the good message he's delivering to Upper West region.
Okay.
Whatever that he says, he's always done at the community. Right now, I'm talking in our community. There is rainbow right now in our community promo.
Okay.
We want to thank him for the good work that he has done to our municipality.
Okay. All right, thank you for calling. Do I have any other caller? Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Please, this is Aliba.
Okay, so let's hear you.
Calling from Boli.
Okay. So your comment, please.
I want to say a very big thanks to Honorable.
Okay.
And I want to plead him to continue his good work. He shouldn't look at what people are doing. These NPP people, they only care about themselves. They don't care about any other person.
Okay.
He will know what I'm talking about. I'm talking from experience based on last month. He helped me release some stress I was going through. I hope and pray that Allah should bless and keep him in Parliament for us. You shouldn't worry, his name is everywhere. No matter what you do, people, those that are involved are there, and we know that maybe they are also there. Okay. We hope to pray that you should keep love for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. What's up? This is Powers.
Okay, maybe I told you my auntie.
Kaka, me can say, Papa not one. You put me up. You need to be a woman. No more half. That's all. You put me up. Only you person shut up. Papa, Papa, Papa. Shut up. With my mom will check on you. because we really never pray to the whole idea in a children. Only me so I said to me, Papa. We were killing the material original Wahano, Papa. Yes, we are going to Mamma Chapa.
Wow.
I'm not good for the Papa or put that Papa to one. I got yes, a self of me.
Okay.
Mamma, what I'm to what can be I should get by you with us. Bye bye.
So, may I say, I'll say, may Mahama, I'll say, honorable, hello. Hello. Honorable Dr. Rashid Pelpuo, I'm watching you live from where all the achievements are eyewitness dog. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Wally calling from Waterbury.
Okay, please let's hear you out.
I want to thank Honorable for all the for us. Hello.
Hello. Okay. All right. Thanks for calling. All right. So, hello. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning. So, Honorable, you can be with a Cafano.
Okay.
So, this is Honorable good. They may the quality of the honor was the motor came by now. What may you say, oh, a dear work of pain? But I was so TV, honorable, good, yes, that was said. I feel a more tomorrow, a more tomorrow, the Alcopa was sleep. A more than 1,000 not to do. That's a Menacing.
Okay, messages in the baby or say good morning, Lucky TV. I'm watching you live from Kyerena USA. The honorable member of for WA Central, Dr. Rashid Pelpuo, is doing well. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Abdul. I'm working for work for home.
Okay, so let's hear you out, please.
I want to thank the honorable that we need something for him to help us in our community home. Our family, we don't have chairs.
You don't have... Hello?
The honorable to help us.
Can you please reposition yourself and then talk to us? I can hardly hear you.
I got there.
Hello?
The honorable to help us our family.
Your line is not too clear. All right. Okay, I see. Hello. Okay. So, honorable. Let me get back to you. I think they have a lot of comments, a lot of recommendations and stuff. So
So first of all, let me thank them all for the calls, and I appreciate the fact that they hear me out and they're showing appreciation for what I have done and what I have been doing as their member of parliament. I'm doing more. The lady who just called and said I should help them, and the village she says she's coming from, the community she says she's coming from. Next, in 2 weeks' time, we are going there to set up a program for the youth.
Wow.
To train them and give them equipment.
Wow.
Give them money to be able to function, to whatever area they will train you in, they will give you cash to be able to function. I'm sending a development agency there to do that for them, that community.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Please, I'm Happy Lamid from Laura.
Okay.
That's our region. Please, I want to give a suggestion and an open advice to Honorable.
Okay.
Bagin was the one in charge of the whole region in terms of supervising the other ends. Now, Honorable is the senior most currently. And I want to suggest to him to bring all the MPs within the region together so that they develop the youth.
Okay.
As their transition, because the time will come, all of them will go. And they have to develop people to take over from them.
Sure.
But he's such a nice man. I know him when he was minister for PPP. I know him very well.
All right. Oh.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for calling. You are my last caller. I don't think we can be able to pick any more calls. So, Honorable.
Yes. So, I want to thank him and to say that we are committed in doing what he's suggesting. We want to be a transition to other group of young people who are coming into the show. And we can't be MPs forever. Definitely there's a point you exit, and it is coming that we will all exit and new ones will come in. And what we'll only be asking for is that they should keep developing themselves and getting ready. It's not about just being a member of parliament, it's about committing yourself to serving the people. And if you do so, you will be noticed by the people. I told you about my story and how I got noticed. It is about committing myself to doing for my people what they require. I roamed the whole of the region when I became a regional youth coordinator, helping to bring up young people to be able to function well as adults. And it's not just a member of parliament alone. There are several situations you can fit yourself in. You can be a businessman, you can be an established civil servant, you can be a public servant in any other place, you can be an educator, you know. So in all areas where human life endeavor commits to production capacity, get yourself involved and build yourself to the highest, and you can achieve the best. So I will advise young people to look at themselves as the core of the future, you know, a future which can be defined only logically. You take over the future as God demands, because people come and people go. When you rise up, the other alternative for you is to come down. But then there are other people who also rise up. So keep rising, keep building yourselves. We pray for you. We want you to be developed, and we want to set the conditions for you. When you pick up, you can get to the top. Okay,
Honorable, you just mentioned, you made mention of 2 weeks from now, the project we're embarking on.
Yes.
Is there any other project you are embarking on apart from this, the one you just mentioned?
Oh, right now, as somebody just called to say that they are doing a borehole in their community. I'm doing some boreholes. New boreholes are happening all over. I'm doing some single classrooms for communities where there are classrooms which were mainly sheds, broken down by rains. I'm doing some of them, some new ones for them right now as we are sitting. And I'm also a number of things that I'm doing, renovating some places, and I have a number of people who have lined up to give support to for student fees that I'm paying. It's overwhelming. So once a while I pick like 20 of them to help them. So I have that list. I give the first 67. The last time I gave 67 of them some support. And I'm going to pick another group to support them. And a number of issues are taking place right now as I'm sitting.
Our time is almost up, but before we go, a word of advice to the youth, and mostly youth of Wa.
First of all, let me show my gratitude to the youth of Wa for believing in me and supporting me all along. I want to give a promise to them that I'll keep doing what I'm doing and much more. I hope and pray that the NDC is coming to power. The development gap that has been left will be closed. The many young people who are unemployed because they discriminate against them because they are not NDC, we are looking at them and will focus on them to support them. We will put them at the real, at a point when all others like them can benefit. We are not going to discriminate. We are going to pick them up and support them. And my advice is that respect where you come from and respect your leaders. It's important for you. There are a number of them, once they see somebody doing something, they say, as for our MP, he's not that. They like condemning what belongs to them. Therefore, if you condemn what belongs to you, you can never get a leader. you can't use somebody else's leader as your role model. And so you will always be at the back. For many of them who see their leaders to be their enemies, you will not progress. Leaders are there to give you a benchmark of progress into your own future. You may not like them, but you may like the progress they are making, which you can copy and even take to the next level. So respect yourself, respect where you come from, respect your leaders, whoever they are. Can I tell you who was my role model at one point? President Kufuor was my role model at one point, yes. I used to like him so much, and I used to follow him. He's not an NDC, but role models can be anywhere. My role models was, Nkrumah was my role model. I never met him in my life, but I saw him to be my role model. Muhammad Ali was my role model. These are not people who, necessarily belong to your party, but if they do something and you think that you can do better, you copy them and do better than them. So develop your minds and your capacity to the highest point. When they are looking for somebody to occupy a place, they will look for nobody else but you. It's important for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Honorable, for making time with us this morning. We are very grateful.
But let me just say Wale to my people.
Okay.
Your course you're making a Maya Mbayanke Yaga. So Mpuhi and Baraka Muna dear to Pizija. Check a water caron, Yajason Caracaro. Yelana Rebleni. Tanaja Blaja and Najao. I'm your Hanabana Elana. Kobanka one Anabanamo or Kunya Chalioga. Anen to Kumbaha. Halako Karakonyo Pampana. Check a beauty beautiful at an Yoban. So neja yuki nimbi ayuki tobo achalha wono ka ino yere jaki wa reporter mpohe ya baraka muna malukuti na natunya tumana anna venka wayo karja yara mala. Assalamu alaikum.
Honorable, you just sold us out.
Pardon?
You just sold us out.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is actually a great station.
Thank you.
Yeah, when I advertised and you gave me that thing and I put it across, lots of people said, oh, this station is a good station. They will listen to it.
Wow.
And the evidence is that they have watched. So, Lucky TV is a great station.
Wow.
It's a great TV station, and I think it is a place to come.
Wow.
And I want to encourage my friends to come here, and then you'll be heard by your community. It is a place that links you everywhere else, into the world, to your constituency, to Ghana. And it's a wonderful place to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right. A very big thank you to Honorable Abdul Rashid Pelpuo for joining us this morning. West Central, a member of Parliament for West Central. Honorable, thank you for coming. And then to our callers too. And then all the way to Malawi, the Defense Minister, Interior Minister, and the Education Minister for watching us today. Home Radio, and then Mac Radio. Thank you for telecasting our interview live. Thank you very much for watching. To our viewers, thank you for watching, and a very big thank you to my crew, my producer, my director, cameraman, and everyone who made this program a success. Thank you very much for your efforts. I really appreciate all your work. My producer, Pastor Richard Kwamiji, my director, Mr. Hopahin, my editors, Mr. Debikwesi Amuzo, Mr. Kofi Redu, Maxwell, Johnson, Prince, Eben, Priscilla, Sound, and the rest of the crew. I can't mention everybody's name, so thank you for your effort. Thank you for making this program a success. My name is Nanama Esuyakon Ama Papabi. So we meet again tomorrow. Make a date with us tomorrow.